So on that note, let's close our eyes and take just a moment to settle in, to become fully present in the here and now, to show up fully open and receptive wherever we have come from today, or whatever we have to do after this celebration. Whatever is going on in our lives, we must always make space to just be, to settle in, to become fully present, and to connect with the purest part of ourselves. So breathe into that. Whether you call that your soul, your spirit, your heart, your divinity, your essence, your deepest knowing. It is that which is pure and knows not of any struggle or strife. So become fully present in that and let everything else fall away. So that today's celebration really becomes the deepest, richest nourishment for the rest of your day, the rest of your week, the rest of your life. For we are simply here to remember who we really are and to give it expression. This is called life. So gently now, bring your attention back. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Morristown. I am Frankie, the spiritual director here, and I'm so glad that we get to come together on Sunday mornings. We extend a special welcome to those of you who are here for the first time. What we're really about is you. We're about you discovering this essential nature and giving it life and giving it greater expression. Because I think we all want the world to be the most amazing place, but it can't happen without us acknowledging who and what we really are. So we're going to talk about that today. So welcome. And look who's here. Elaine Silver and her beloved James. Those of you that don't know Elaine came here before I did. So about 25 years ago, she started taking classes. She was one of my first students, and she just recently became a licensed practitioner. And the reason it took her so long was because she's a traveling troubadour. She travels all over the country, all over the world to share her music, and her sisters are even here today. And this is where she grew up, so they're traveling and they're here today to do the music. And then afterwards at 12:30, she's doing, I don't even want to call it a concert, it's a special event because she set lots of Ernest Holmes' words to song. And I have a draft copy, or like second or third draft, rough mixes so far, and it's so good. It's so good. I shared it with Connie. Connie got to listen to it. And so she's going to be coming out with that with her next CD. Those of you that come to the concert get a free CD. Not this one, get a free CD. So stay for that. Her music is deeply inspiring. So Gail Belluardo will be assisting me today as the licensed practitioner. She's going to take us through a really lovely experience. But what we always do at our center is something called spiritual mind treatment. That's our word for affirmative prayer. So I invite you to close your eyes and just take this in as your new truth, or as a reminder of the truth. So right here, right now, as I turn within, I remember who I really am. And when I say I speak from and to that divinity, that divine self. And its true name is the I am. So hear it as such. I know that I am a spiritual being having a human experience, and that my human experience is not about torture or torment, but it's about the portal to my awakening to my true nature. It's about me waking up to who and what I really am and how to give it expression. So it's all about inner guidance. So today I open to that inner voice in whatever form it comes, and I let it guide me with love, compassion, peace, harmony, and what falls away is anything and everything that no longer serves me. So I don't attach to it. I just notice it and let it go. And I use it as a way to awaken to my true nature, which is so unique from everyone else, and I am here to live that. That's what makes the world a better place. That's what connects the I to the we and makes me realize that I am part of something much greater than I think I am. That my life is much bigger than I think I am. That my experience is much deeper than I even imagine it to be. So today I let myself be awakened by something I hear, something I see, something I notice, knowing that what I hear always comes through the filter of my own consciousness, so it serves me in the highest and best ways. I'm so blessed to have a spiritual community to go to belong to be inspired in, to be served by, and so I fully find myself in a state of grace, a state of gratitude for all the good that I am, that's in my life, and that I find here. And so it is. So be sure to grab a bite to eat and to come back and enjoy Elaine's wonderful concert event. All right. So, if you've been in this teaching long enough, and for those of you who are licensed practitioners or ministers, we also use abbreviations, like when you text, LOL, things like that, BTW. I'm not good at the abbreviations yet. But in our teaching, we have abbreviations too. We say DRA, Divine Right Action. We say RPM, Right and Perfect Mate. That's a big one, big request from people. And we have WPC, which is Whole, Perfect, and Complete. It's often misunderstood. But the truth is, you are whole, perfect, and complete exactly the way you are. Nobody else is. You are. All of us are whole, perfect, and complete as we are. That's our true nature. That's our essence. That's who we have always been. That's who we will always be. That is the truth. And that is our experience to awaken to. So people get really confused by that. They say, holy schmoly, what about fill in the blank? My lack of money, my child abuse, my illness, my relationship troubles. Well, it's not about that. The truth is where we begin, and where we begin is we are each whole, perfect, and complete as we are. That's your nature. So then there's this word perfection, which people get really confused about. Any recovering perfectionists in the room? Just me? Oh, a few. Good. It's not that kind of perfect. It doesn't have an opposite. It's not perfect versus imperfect. It's perfect, period. So you get to think about what that means, and I always give it a capital P because then it can't be wishy-washy. Be perfect as you are. You are perfect as you are. There is nothing that needs to be changed about you to be more perfect. And complete is like whole. We have this sense walking around on this earth that something is missing. Well, that belief gets us into trouble, which I'll get to in a minute. But even that which we think is missing has a completeness about it. So we're going to explore that a little bit because it's really about discovering what this concept of whole, perfect, and complete means, what we believe about that, and what information that gives us. So the idea then is that we're already living our whole, perfect, and completeness. It's already showing up. You might not notice because your attention is somewhere else. But you all found your way over here today, so you probably drove or got a ride from someone, were able to walk in, most of you, I think. Nobody crawled, right? So there already is something happening in us where we're experiencing a sense of wholeness, a sense of perfection, and a sense of completeness. We can often give that a lot of thought because as human beings, we have a tendency, as Ernest Holmes says, to focus on the negative. And I'll come back to that as well. So the idea then is celebrate that and live that to the fullest. Become aware of where you already experience your wholeness, your completeness, and your perfection, and celebrate that, and just see it magnified, and share it, and live it, and thrive on it, and be grateful for it. And then we begin to notice where we don't yet believe that. Well, whole, great, but not over here. Not this. Perfect, well, maybe most places, but not over here. Complete, well, yeah, when I'm happy, in my happy place with my happy people, but not when I'm over there. So then we begin to notice where we have conflict, where we have our inner arguments, or outer for that matter, and where we don't believe that. That is where your power lies. If you walk around thinking that's where you don't have any power, you will suffer. And you will create more drama than you really need to. And so I know that that's a journey for myself, to constantly notice and pay attention. Oh, that's interesting. I'm having a conflict with my partner. That's not about our conflict. It's not about him. It's about what wants to be seen as whole, perfect, and complete in me and then wants to be expressed. Or I might have a health challenge. A health challenge is always something trying to get your attention about your true essence, your wholeness, your completeness, your perfection. So we use metaphysical equivalence. We look at the meaning of things. So you might have trouble with your vision. What is it that you don't want to see? You might have trouble with your hearing. What is it you don't want to hear? You might have trouble with your heart. Look for the meaning when you have a physical condition so that you can understand where you're not living your wholeness, your perfection, your completeness, and where you feel separate from it. What's that belief? Because those limiting beliefs, those separating beliefs, they kind of are like a vortex. They begin spinning like the candy cane sugar, is that what you call it? You know, it starts to spin and it gets, cotton candy, it begins to spin and it gets bigger and bigger and it gets all sticky and nasty and ugh, right? It's kind of like that. If we don't pay attention to where we feel separate, it becomes a vortex that begins to spin and it then turns into a problem or a condition. That's not a punishment. I was raised to believe it's a punishment. It's not a punishment. That's the portal to our greater awareness and to our awakening. And so the practice that I have a tendency to do is to kind of say, when I feel separate, when I'm having a challenge, when I'm having a relationship problem, when I'm having a health issue, when I'm having a money problem, is saying, how am I experiencing lack of wholeness, sense of separation from my internal, inherent perfection? And what does that tell me? What does that tell me? And so what's really happening when we're having a challenge is that it's a gift. I recently read, we may not say it's a gift, but it's a given. It's a given because it's trying to get our attention so that we can heal, transform, and grow and make a greater contribution to what's happening in our world or in the world. And so the question when we're struggling is, what did I forget? How did I forget my inherent wholeness? How did I forget that I'm already perfect and complete? And so that becomes our inner work, which is vital. So we notice when we're stuck. We notice when we don't feel good enough. We notice when we're angry at the world, or a person, or a place, or an event. We notice when we feel grief. I don't know about you, but when I don't watch a lot of news, but when I hear about the fires in California, I want to die. I don't know what to do with that. It's just so overwhelming. And right now, one of my colleagues, Center for Spiritual Living in Reading, they may have been evacuated at this moment. The center may be gone. I don't know. So what do you do with that? Do you go drink alcohol, or eat sugar, or drink caffeine, or have sex, or go shopping, or hide under the covers, or, we all do something, right, to escape that feeling because it's so big we don't always know what to do with it. Well, the first thing you can do is take a breath, because we tend to hold our breath when we hear news like that. And then to say, what did I forget? What did I forget? And how can I go back to that place that I am whole, perfect, and complete? There's only divine perfection going on, and how can I then make a contribution? Because if we stay in the sorrow, the fear, the anger, the resistance, we contribute to the problem. You just started on a fire. But if we do our inner work, then we can contribute in a simple, quiet way until it begins to grow, spin like sugar, and become something magnificent. Maybe you become an activist. Maybe you do fundraisers. Maybe you go out there and help put out fires with your little bucket. I don't know. But something, right, to contribute to the shift in consciousness. So it's important for us to notice where we put our attention and our energy. And I have a story. One day, a professor entered his classroom and asked the students to prepare for a surprise test. They all waited anxiously at their desk for the exam to begin. The professor handed out the exams with the text facing down, as usual. And once he handed them all out, he asked the students to turn over the paper. To everyone's surprise, there were no questions, just a black dot at the center of the page. The professor, seeing the expression on everyone's faces, told him the following: I want you to write what you see there. The students, confused, got started on the inexplicable task. At the end of the class, the professor took all the exams and started reading each one of them out loud in front of all the students. All of them, with no exception, defined the black dot, trying to explain its position in the center of the sheet. After all had been read, the classroom silent, the professor started to explain. I'm not going to grade you on this. I just wanted to give you something to think about. No one wrote about the white part on the paper. Everyone focused on the black dot. And the same thing happens in our lives. However, we insist on focusing only on the black dot. The health issues that bother us, the lack of money, the complicated relationship with a family member, the disappointment with a friend. The dark spots are very small when compared to everything we have in our lives, but they're the ones that pollute our minds. Take your eyes away from the black dots in your lives. Enjoy each one of your blessings, each moment that life gives you. Be happy and live a life filled with love. Isn't that a great story? Isn't it true that we tend to focus on where we don't feel whole, perfect, and complete, and we're surprised that we have problems and issues in our lives? It's an energy thing. Where you place your attention, you have your experience. That doesn't mean you go, la 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 la, I'm not broke, or la la la, I'm not sick, or la la la, I have no problems. No, no, no. It means paying attention, but keep bringing your attention to the truth, to your inherent nature, to your inherent ability. I'm a big fan of Rob Bell, who is an author, a podcaster, and I've been listening to the same talk for a while because I really needed it, where he says, your weak is your new strong. Isn't that great? And I'm going to talk more about that next week, so come on. Because I only get about 20 minutes. So, would you say that everybody wants to experience wholeness? You think that maybe somebody on this planet says, no. Wholeness, I don't know. Right? Everybody, right? Everybody wants to feel that inherent perfection. Everybody wants to feel complete. Everyone wants to be happy. Everyone wants to feel prosperous. All of that, of course, is relative. It's not about specifics. Even whole, perfect, and complete will mean something different than it does to you, than it does to me, than it does to you. Because it's all a process, it's a journey. It's not like, oh, once I get there, good to go. No, it's a journey for your whole life, because it's about your awakening, which is moving. And so we want to really pay attention to what everybody wants. It's pretty much the same thing. If we all want it so badly, how come we don't all have it? We don't all have it because we don't believe we can. We don't believe we are whole, perfect, and complete as we are. And even when we believe it, in human time there is like a time lapse, because we have clocks and calendars, where sometimes it can take a while to demonstrate. You might make a decision today to be perfectly healthy or perfectly abundant. The interesting thing with metaphysics is that when you set an intention, something happens called, by Emma Curtis Hopkins, chemicalization. Which means that once you make a decision to be prosperous, you go broke. You're robbed. Or you have a huge bill. Or your car breaks down and all your savings have to go into that new car. Have you noticed that kind of thing? That when you make a decision to be more whole, everything unlike itself will be right in your face and you go, what the heck just happened? I did one affirmation and it didn't demonstrate. Well, because it's a process, and it's kind of the universe saying, do you mean it? Do you really mean your intention, or are you just saying it? As in Arabic, they say kalam fadi, empty words. Right? And so we want to pay attention as we are affirming, because the interesting thing that I've noticed is that self-sabotage, man, I'm a master at that one. And I think we all are, because it comes with that human experience. So would you say that we all want the world to be a better place? Yes? Don't we all want peace and harmony? Don't we all want a country that's not so divided? Don't we all want to have everybody be healthy and happy? Don't we want every child to be with its parents? So it's a healthy situation. Don't we all want the environment to be healthier? I recently had to fill out a questionnaire for a doctor, and it says, what kind of toxicity is in your life? And it says alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, and I wrote, I live in a toxic world. Right? And so we pay attention to all those things, that it's not going to change without you and me. If you and I do not heal and do our inner healing work, the world will not become a healthier place. It's not about pointing fingers and complaining about other people, places, and things, but saying, that's my portal for healing internally. And as I do, that becomes my contribution to a healthier, happier world. That means that we each have a huge responsibility. And I know that we don't always like that. Oh my I want to make the world a better place, but I want you to do it. I want our president to do it. I want our political system to change. I want, we have this tendency, right? But it's really then when we notice it, it means that we have our contribution to make. We have to clean up our own pollution, our own sense of dividedness. The reason the world is in the situation it is in because the individuals on the planet were in it already, as within, so without, cause and effect. That doesn't mean you have to do all of it. Just your own part. Clear the cobwebs in your consciousness that are not in alignment with the truth. You are whole, perfect, and complete. And so, when you notice that you want the world to be a better place, you want people, places, or things to change, the question is, what is my part? What is mine to do? What did I forget? What do I want it to become? And then we take responsibility for that, and we realize that in that moment, that's your purpose. In that moment, that's your purpose. I don't know how many people come to me and say, I don't know what my purpose is. So you can walk around all your life and say, I don't know what it is, I don't know what it is. It becomes a prayer, right? Well, your purpose is right in front of you in the moment, is to know that you have purpose, to know that your life has meaning, to know that you matter, to know that you're whole, perfect, and complete, and that's part how you experience that, are here to express it, and what's in the way must be healed. And then we infuse that with our spiritual practices. Listen to what Ernest Holmes said in 1952. I'm embarrassed. 1952, he said this. It's our simple and sincere conviction that if millions of people were affirmatively praying every day for our nation and for our leaders, spiritual powers would be loosed across the country, which would impel it into right action. Wow. Let me read that again. I need to hear it again. It's our simple and sincere conviction that if millions of people were affirmatively praying every day for our nation and our leaders, spiritual powers would be loosed across the country, which would impel it into right action. America is the great dream of the ages. Let us keep this dream fresh and fair in our minds, and through our united faith, create a spirit of unity and solidarity against which the waves of disruption beat in vain. Pray every single day for your nation and your political leaders. Spiritual practices are not an option anymore. You can't say, I'll do it today. I don't have time tomorrow. We can't afford anymore to just come on a Sunday for an hour and be entertained and then go home. And I'm not saying any of you do, of course not. But we get lazy, right? And so that's when we stop, slow down, get quiet, take a breath, connect with our wholeness, our inherent wholeness, our inherent perfection, our inherent completeness, and notice where there is a gap. And then we go into that gap, and we pray, we meditate, and we reflect, and we remember the truth, and we ask, what have I forgotten? What wants to be lived instead of what I'm experiencing that's limiting me? It's about aligning our beliefs with the truth principles. It's about clearing the cobwebs. It's about tuning in to the truth of our nature. It's feeling that wholeness, perfection, and completeness within our own divinity. It's about acting from it and asking for forgiveness when we mess up. Right? And we do this until we notice, I feel lighter. My life is a little easier. My relationships are a little bit better. I don't feel as judgmental about the people that I don't agree with or don't agree with me. I have more breath. I have more life. I'm not so afraid. I'm not so worried. I'm not so anxious. I trust more. I read a great acronym for faith today. Faith, F-A-I-T-H. Feel as if the thing has happened. Feel as if the thing has happened. When you feel something completely, you become it. There's no question. There's no doubt. There's no gap. So practice feeling how amazing you are. You know, I think about that sometimes. Like we just drove to West Palm Beach and back. Well, we took 2 weeks, but anyway. And it's like, we came home and I said, honey, we didn't have an accident. The car didn't break down. We weren't robbed. Neither of us were stung by a nasty bug or a stingray or whatever else. We get back to Princeton and we see somebody on top of that cement thing in the middle of the road. On top of it. Look, how did they get on top? Because of all the distracted driving, we know stuff happens. And I'm like, I'm so grateful. And we have so much to be grateful for. And your gratitude for all the gifts and the blessings and how amazing you are and how strong you are and how powerful you are and how grace-filled you are. When we give thanks for that, it grows and it becomes our contribution. So let's remember that this week. Let's remember that we already are whole, perfect, and complete as we are. And then ask yourself, how do I live that today? And then watch the gifts and the blessings that come along.
And it's love. And this is a reading from the book by Paul Farini, Love Without Conditions. To bring attention to any person or situation, you cannot have an agenda of your own. If you have expectations of yourself, of another, or of a situation in general, you cannot be fully attentive in that moment. Your ability to be attentive depends on having an open mind, a mind that is free of judgment and free of expectation. Having an open mind and an open heart opens the door to love. But this is a door that opens and closes. When it closes, one needs to be patient and forgiving, or the door will not open again. Every experience of separation or judgment is an opportunity to soften in the heart, to open to love's presence. Mentally, this involves moving away from fixed perceptions and their justifications. Emotionally, it means